The fix is in. The Sports Fix.
Portions of the Sports Fix brought to you by GV Art and Design. It's not just a shirt, it's a statement. GVArtwork.com.
Sports Fix listeners, don't wait all day or all week to get in on the fun. The party doesn't stop when we go off the air all week long. The Sports Fix social media sites are your one-stop shop for all things Cleveland sports. Jump over to Facebook.com/TheSportsFix, Facebook.com/TheSportsFix, and become a fan today because we love fans and they create some of the best sports talk in town, Daddy. You'll enjoy talking to your fellow Cleveland sports fans on the Sports Fix fan page. And if Twitter's your thing, well, you know how we do it. Tweet with us at the SportsFixCLE. It's that simple.
Twitter.com/TheSportsFixCLE, baby.
Chat live with the crew during all your favorite Cleveland sports events, tickets and contests and trivia and so much more. Get with us today, the Sports Fix on social media, Facebook.com/TheSportsFix. Tweet with us at the SportsFixCLE. Join the Sports Fix on Facebook and Twitter today.
Hey Cleveland, this is Anderson Varejão of the Cleveland Cavaliers. You are listening to the Sports Fix.
Live in Ohio, it's time to get your fix. The Sports Fix.
Welcome in. Took us a minute to get here today. We are on the air. We are right. You know what, though? You know the whole lemons to lemonade, silver linings? We're going to make that happen here today. Everything, literally. You know, sometimes I say this. I'm sure you guys probably think, he's just trying to make a point here about himself. But, you know, we always talk about when craziness happens behind the scenes here on the Sports Fix, and that's what happened this morning. Literally, I'd say 3.5 minutes before we hit the airwaves today, everything changed in the first hour. And so have no fear. Tom Hamilton, voice of the Cleveland Indians, is here, and he will be with us here. 1 o'clock, Hammy on the show. I'm so fired up. I am on my second tank of coffee. And when I say that, I literally mean that. You guys know we talk about my coffee intake all the time. I should take a picture of this and put it out there because people literally cannot believe that this is my coffee cup. I found my dream coffee cup the other day when I was heading to do the football game the other night, and I stopped at I'll even give them the free advertising just because of it. It was a True North was the name of the place, and I always go around. My dad used to have this big giant, it was like a football size cup. I used to joke, I'm like, man, you could put the whole pot of coffee in that thing, and he would carry this thing around all day when he would do his running around and everything and so forth. And I've never been able to find one that big. I'm a coffee freak, you guys know that, and it saves me a trip, the bigger the cup. And I've gotten as big as, I think, like a 28 ounce coffee cup, which is, big. I mean, that's 3 or 4 cups for a regular person. For me, that's, something I just call breakfast. But I found this 44 ounce monster at True North. I found them. I said, I was just going to get a cup of coffee. I said, do you guys happen to have permanent cups? And she said, well, we've got those up there, and these things, nobody touched them. They were dust covered because nobody buys these giant cups. So I bought it, and I got up there and I said, you guys are out of coffee, I can't fill this. And she goes, you're buying that for coffee? It's not for coffee. I said, lady, what do you think this thing is made for? You can't drink that much coffee. I said, I'm going to drink this much coffee before the end of this conversation. What are you talking about? But anyways, so I have a monster. I mean, this thing is a tank. Every time people see me, they just laugh. First things first, I go, what, the coffee cup? They go, yes, the coffee cup. You're carrying around 2 pots of coffee. But anyways, I don't know I'm necessarily, that's the healthiest thing to do, but it definitely keeps me chipper. That's for sure. I'm ultra chipper today because of Tom Hamilton joining us on the show. I cannot wait. Always an honor to have somebody like him here on the show, especially for the first time. And Very excited to talk to Tom about his time with the Indians. Of course, you guys have been sending us questions, and there's going to be a lot of that. And if you have questions during the show, give them to me. I'll give you the information here in a minute, and I'll ask those a little later when Hammy's on with us. Of course, we're also going to talk about him and Terry Pluto, one of my favorite Northeast Ohio authors, just one of my favorite sports authors in general, Terry Pluto. Always good stuff. He teamed up with Joe Tate on his book, and him and Tom Hamilton put together Glory Days in Tribe Town, talking about those 90s Indians, specifically focusing on 94 through 97-ish. We're going to talk to Hammy about all of that, and I've got a copy of Glory Days in Tribe Town for one of you listening today. Going to give it to you here. Get in the holiday spirit. It's great. I've read it. This thing is fantastic. We're going to talk about it with the man, Tom Hamilton, live here on the Sports Fix as well. Like I said, things changing. Other than that, everything changed on today's show. The BSK Kendall Lewis, normally with us in the opening first segment of the show, he's going to be possibly with us in the second hour. Really depends on how long things go and how things develop with Hammy and all of that later on in the show, but things had to change. But you know what? Like I said, with the whole lemons to lemonade, we never get enough opportunities to open up the phone lines here live, and we've been blasted. I told you guys we missed so many calls. They were jammed from the whole time we were on the air yesterday with the whole Browns quarterback, everything going on. So we're going to hit that again today. We're going to reopen the phone lines, and I'm just going to use that segment as an extra phone-in segment, which is great because I know a lot of you guys out there still haven't gotten in, still have some things to say. So we're going to, matter of fact, at the end of the first segment here, I'm going to hit the break and open up the phone lines and get us rocking and rolling there. And as we say, we give you the voice. You are the voice. Well, boom, use it today. We're going to do it here. We'll get more phone lines opened up. We've got fantasy football for winners. BJ Rudell's on the road. He still took care of business today. It's money week for a lot of you guys here, whether you're in a one-day league or a full season league, especially the full season leagues. Playoffs are coming here, and you know us, we've got the championship belt brought to you by our friends at Fantasy Jocks. There is still the championship ring for the consolation tournament as well. A lot of great prizes to be given away. This belt, I'm looking at it right now. Beautiful white and gold fantasy football champion. It's going to somebody. Anyways, BJ Rudell has got this week's tips for you guys to get you ready. Can't wait to bring you this week's edition of Fantasy Football for Winners. We've got Tom Hamilton. We're talking Browns, Cavaliers getting back in action. CSU Vikings, tough one for them last night. They turned it on. They not turned up for what? They turned it up for late is what they did. They started raining down some threes, but unfortunately they did it all in the final minute of the game, and they fell short. Again, they were down a lot, and then you look at the final score, you go, how did that happen? It's because they went buck wild in the final 90 seconds of that game against Toledo, but the Vikings did fall. Let's do all of that, and let's crack the phones and do everything, baby. Welcome in to the Sports Fix, a Thursday edition chock full of goodness coming your way across the Sports Fix Radio Network. I'm your host, the Big Daddy on the microphone, J-Rock, Jerry Myers. Call me what you will. Don't call me late for dinner, and call me on the hotline when we open them up, and I could come up with a different segue for that every day. But seriously, guys, thank you for being here with us, and I appreciate the love. I see my guys in the chat room. Everybody's excited to have Hammy here on the Sports Fix today. Welcome in across the network, whether you're listening live on TuneIn and TuneIn's radio app worldwide in HD audio. Many of you listening live on Spreaker. Shout out to Spreaker for promoting the show this morning as well. Thank you guys for tweeting out word of the show across your network. Welcome in everybody listening live on Mix, and of course on our home base, thesportsfix.net, your one-stop shop. Make sure you bookmark it if you haven't. It's got all the replays of the shows. You can jump right into our social media conversations. It's got news headlines, all of that right there, thesportsfix.net. Bookmark it today. Welcome in as well all of you listening on digital delay around the world, baby, literally 24/7. If you guys just joined us, that's not an expression. Around the world on places like iHeartRadio, the world's largest internet radio provider, on iTunes, and downloading us there, subscribing to the show on Stitcher Radio and CarPlay and SoundCloud and all of the places that you guys join us. listen to us, feed us, subscribe us, and all of that technological mumbo jumbo. Thank you very much. We say it all the time. This is your show. Be a part of it. You're the voice of the Sports Fix, and I'm going to crack those phone lines and use that voice here as we get rolling. 216-539-7535. If you're one of the dozens of people that didn't get through yesterday during the show, today's your opportunity. 216-539-7535, the number to call. 216-539-7535. Hit us up on the phones if you can't, and I know many of you at work while you're enjoying the show, or perhaps you're using your mobile device so it makes it hard for you to call the show. Use your social media, baby. Our Facebook is just blown up. As you can imagine, we've got, between my personal Facebook, we've got 5,000 there, and then the Facebook for the Sports Fix is at nearly 20 and a half, nearly 21,000 or whatnot. Between those alone, you can imagine the amount of comments, feedback, messages, all of that we've gotten. It is astounding. And then the social media as well across the other networks. So hit us up and use that. Facebook.com/The Sports Fix. Tweet with us at The Sports Fix CLE. Here's a funny story. Charlie on Facebook, a guy, it turns out, knows me through wrestling as well, through watching me as a wrestler. Didn't even know that I do the radio thing. He knows me simply as a pro wrestler, and came across him on a thread about, of course, the Browns quarterback situation, because what else would people be arguing about on a Wednesday night? But we made a few back and forth. It wasn't even bad. It was nothing like some of the hostile conversations that you guys have seen. But anyways, so it was a little back and forth, and then it was over, and he hit me up with a message and goes, "Hey, man, I didn't know who you were," so on and so forth. And I said, no worries, man. No worries. He sent me a message this morning. It was pretty funny. He goes, "Now I see why you weren't that upset about our conversation. I see some of the other stuff on your wall and the way some of those guys are talking." I said, "Yeah, welcome to my world, buddy." I said, "That little discussion that we had, that's all that is a discussion. Discussions are great. I love those. That's what we do. This is my job." But yeah, he quickly found out that there's a way more harsh end, and that's something, and we'll talk more about this as we roll. We mentioned it yesterday. I think every caller, every guest has brought this up, that we've seen a lot of quarterback issues. We've seen a lot of different camps over the years, but man, never nothing as truly vicious and divisive as this one. It's not just my guy or your guy. I mean, it is pure vitriol towards the other side. I mean, some of the things that I've seen, and the things that people want done to Brian Hoyer, my goodness. I mean, he didn't insult any of you personally, man. Last time I checked, you'd have thought he hit somebody's mama the way some of these people. But seriously, I get it. It's passionate, but this is different. There's a different level of just passion with this one, as I've seen and as you guys have seen. But I did get a kick out of that. Charlie said, "Hey, man, now I see why our deal was nothing." I said, "Yeah, that was just two guys talking sports. You should see these cats get crazy, but it's all good." So be a part of those crazy conversations. Facebook.com/The Sports Fix. Tweet with us at The Sports Fix CLE. Email us, thesportsfix@AOL.com. I'm getting ready to go to break. I'm getting ready to crack these phones here and start taking some phone calls when we come back. But I did want to talk about a couple of things in the news here related to us here. Of course, the Ravens, the whole divisional race coming down. Remember, Browns and the Ravens. I see it coming down for all four teams to that final week. But trouble for the Ravens here, and this is anything that thins them. We talk about injuries and next man up. A big man has gone down for them, but it's not an injury. Word out of Baltimore that Ravens defensive tackle Elodie Nada, who of course could have been a Brown at one point, as you guys remember. They gave Romeo the choice between the pass rusher and the run stopper. But anyways, that's history. It's all buried. But suspended for the remainder of the regular season, final 4 games, for violating the league's policy on performance-enhancing substances. It was announced today, and I don't believe that's pretty cut and dry. I mean, he made a statement today. Matter of fact, he said, "I own this. This was me." The suspension was for Adderall, and he's taken responsibility, so on and so forth. He's let his team down in a playoff race. I'll tell you that. You guys know what a beast it is. I mean, their line changes when you run towards he literally eliminates a part of the area that you run towards because you just don't do that, and that's going to be bad for them. Good for us, good for the other North teams coming down the stretch. Bad for them there. And if they make the playoffs, Nada would be eligible to return after that. But 4 days now, or excuse me, 4 games gone here for Nada, and that's bad news for the Ravens defense. I mean, think about it. And matter of fact, this is here, and here we go, man. I mean, you can tie one into the other, and you wouldn't be jumping to an illogical conclusion. He's having one of his best seasons that he's had. Couple of sacks, couple of picks, couple of forced fumbles. I think he's knocked down 6 or 7 passes this season, and he's got the Ravens 5th ranked against the run here this season. They've always been tough